Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. I hope you're doing well today. Now, this is actually the second video that I'm putting up on the 27th of February. I just put up one about some comments that people put up. Now, this one I'm going to read aloud again an article by Benjamin Cremes. I guess it'd be kind of funny if I didn't read it aloud. It'd just be a silent video, right? Anyway, that'd be kind of strange. But I do that because of the fact that even though they're written decades ago, they're still relevant to today. And like in this article that I'm going to read in this video, he talks about seeing Maitreya soon. I mean, you can almost insert in, we'll recognize him soon because he's already on TV now, right? But I also want to point out, before I read this, that Benjamin Cremes was unique because he was working telepathically with one of these masters. Now, we don't know this master's name yet. We will eventually know his name, but right now he's just referred to as Benjamin Cremes Master or the Master. But it was quite extraordinary, the work that he did with his master, because of the relationship that the two of them had. It was very, very close, a lot closer than a typical disciple would have with a master or whatever. Now, we don't know historically the relationship that a lot of these disciples had with these masters, but I just know that Benjamin Cremes said that his relationship kind of went beyond where the majority of the disciples' relationships would have. So there have been many disciples that have had telepathic relationships with masters. Alice Bailey, Helena Blavatsky, even Jesus. Jesus worked telepathically through Muhammad to write the Quran, and Maitreya worked through Jesus back in Palestine 2,000 years ago. Now, according to esotericism, that the three closest disciples that Jesus had, Peter, James, and John, they were the only ones that knew about the relationship between Maitreya and Jesus. Or there might have been others, but they definitely knew, okay? But for the vast majority of the people, they had no idea that Maitreya was working telepathically from the Himalayas through Jesus in Palestine at the time. And so the teachings that were given out, the majority of them are actually Maitreya's teachings. Not to take anything away from Jesus, but it was just, that was Jesus's role, was to act as the world teacher for the age of Pisces. And he did it by allowing the Christ to work through him at that time. Just as when the Prince Gautama, a few hundred years before Jesus, the Buddha worked telepathically through him. And other disciples that in different fields other than, the spiritual field, for instance, or the religious field, right? Disciples like Mozart. The master Serapis Bey wrote a lot of his pieces through Mozart. So, when you hear Mozart's wonderful works and stuff, they may or may not have been written by Mozart. They might have been written by his master, the master Serapis Bey. Other disciples like Rembrandt, were overshadowed by Maitreya when he was painting. And the eyes of Rembrandt in every one of his paintings, apparently, according to Benjamin Cremes, are actually the eyes of Maitreya. And there's an energetic reason for that. So when you see Rembrandt's paintings, you actually can pick up subliminally, I guess, or subconsciously, the energy of Maitreya. And the works of these disciples historically that we probably are unaware of, who were working with with masters, when and how much and so forth, will eventually become more known, and then it will kind of make more sense. But Benjamin Cremes worked very diligently with his master to get to this point where he could actually have this kind of relationship with him. And knowing Benjamin Cremes and knowing his speech patterns and the way he talked, and even reading some of Benjamin Cremes' writings, they read differently than his masters. They're different speech patterns. They're different. The way that it's written is like from a different person, which it is. It's coming from his master, which is different from him. And I know there was one time I was driving Benjamin Cremes around here in Atlanta, and he was talking about this one coworker in Atlanta, and unfortunately this guy's passed away, so I can kind of talk about him. But he was mentioning all of these Benjamin Cremes called glamours of this guy. The glamour of self-deception, the glamour of self-importance, the glamour of this, and he started going on and on and on about how we Americans are so glamored about this and so glamored about that. And he was just listing a bunch of them. Spiritual pride. I mean, I can't remember all the ones he listed. There was a lot, right? And I stopped him and I was like, Ben, I have to stop you. He goes, what? I said, I have every single one of those glamours that you just listed. But the most extraordinary thing was, and it was Ben's master who said this to me because it sounded different than Ben. It was really weird, but he turned his head to me and he goes, you'll get it, Gary, don't worry. And that one thing that he said that was so simple and small, but yet so many times in my life when the struggle was just too real, I would think about that and it would get me through it, that it's all going to be fine, right? And it kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm about to read. But this article is entitled All Will Be Well. Now, it's written before Maitreya was on TV, so he's talking about him, eventually coming on TV, but you can almost, look at it as we still haven't really recognized Maitreya on TV. So until that point, this still is kind of relevant. So anyway, it's entitled All Will Be Well, and it was published in Share International in March of '96. Soon the world will rejoice. Very soon the face of him for whom all men wait will show itself before the world. Very soon now the world will know that the teacher is indeed among men, ready to inaugurate the age of peace. Clearly the responses of men will differ widely, but one thing is certain: he cannot be ignored. So potent is he, so pertinent are his ideas for the future of the race, that men everywhere will clamor for elucidation and further knowledge of his plans and purpose. Thus the great Lord will reveal himself to men and answer their pleas. Fortunately, naught can prevent the triumph of his cause, for his cause and the needs of men are one. When men see this, they will rally to his side and demand the changes which he advocates. Thus will be created a spearhead armed with truth, directed to the decaying heart of the old dispensation. Many will see him the Savior of old. Others will recognize in him the exponent of the new. Whatever their stance, men will raise aloft his banner: truth and brotherhood, justice and peace. From simple beginnings there will arise a flood, whose urgency for change will soon engulf the world. Thus shall it be. Thus will the Son of Man return to his people, and thus will he renew the lives of men. Prepare to see the Lord of love. Prepare to work at his side. Be ready to work with his brotherhood, for they, the masters, enter likewise the lives of men. Soon men will know that they are not alone, that the path to the future is encased in burnished stone, hallowed by the feet of those who have gone before and know well the way. Serious problems await his earnest attention. Much danger exists in the persistent affairs of men. Maitreya knows the law and comes as advocate and guide, secure in the knowledge that he imposes not on the free will of men. Open your hearts to his advocacy and fulfill your role. Take your stand on the side of justice and peace. Make known your stance and attract his energy. Welcome to the feast. Welcome to your future. Many will be confused and unable to determine friend or foe. Filled with old dogmas, they blunder blindly in the dark. But soon, the old darkness will give way to light, and in growing numbers they will embrace that light and rally to his call. Thus shall it be. Thus shall the great Lord guide the footsteps of men and ensure his victory. Near, very near, is the time to his open appearance. Never, never before has such a time prevailed. Take heart and know that all will be well. All manner of things will be well. Remember to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.